My new employee is the parent of my child's bully. I received a promotion last month after several stressful years. The money will be life-changing. I'm working out of a different office much closer to home. I'll be doing work I care about, and I'll have more time with my family. The company filled an open role at my new location just before I was promoted. I didn't participate in the hiring process for this person. I did not know they hired the parent of my child's bully. This isn't just a few meetings with a principal kind of bully situation. We almost lost our child because of Timmy. We moved our child and their siblings to a different school. Then we sold our home and moved to the other side of the county. We had to involve the police at one point, resulting in being granted a restraining order against Timmy, who is now finally facing other legal consequences for his behavior. Both kids are still quite young, so I'm still shocked at the cruel and awful things I witnessed my child go through at the hands of a peer, feeling helpless and out of control while we begged the school and his parents to intervene. Our family life is finally settling down, and this new work opportunity felt like a new start for us after the pain and fear we've gone through. My child is finally beginning to heal and get their life and joy back. We're all in treatment as a family and individually to help recover from all of this. The company hired Timmy's mother, Jane, to fill this role, and I will be managing her. My first day meeting the team, she went pale when she saw me. I'm sure I probably did the same. I know everyone else on this team and have great rapport with them. I don't communicate with Jane unless I have to, and it's in writing. What should I do? I'm not quitting and I'm not taking a demotion. Should I meet with Jane and HR to discuss this and set expectations? That feels like I'm betraying my child and my family, but professionally I know it's an option. Do I ignore it and hope she's so uncomfortable she quits? Should I ask HR about offering her a transfer? At a certain point in the last year, she behaved just about as badly as her child did, and the judge considered including her in the restraining order, but was instead issued a warning on the record. I checked, and the two of us working together isn't a violation of the restraining order, but it does open up the possibility. I'm just so stunned I don't know what to do. We don't speak or interact unless we have to, and some team members and a few of my colleagues in management have noticed but not said much about it. I'm at such a loss. I have no idea how to handle this. Update. I appreciate that allowed me the space to get my thoughts in order before I said or did anything stupid. I should have gone to HR my first day as Jane's manager, but I was not thinking straight. Things had been going so well at home that I didn't want to jeopardize it by bringing Jane back into our lives. Within a few days of my question posting, my junior team lead, Sam, asked me directly about my weird behavior around Jane, which had been going on for about 2 weeks or so. In the org chart, I'm Sam's superior, but not by much. Sam and I have worked together in the past, but not closely enough that he knew about my connection to Jane. Her child bullied and assaulted my child, and the courts were involved, among other things. I told Sam about my history with Jane, providing limited details with minimal legal documentation and proof, which my lawyer advised me on, and he was shocked but incredibly supportive. He let me know that Jane had been very vocal with several other staff, including him, since my first day, warning staff to stay away from me, that I was toxic, dangerous, that I had slept with her husband and broken up her marriage. All I could do was laugh at that. It hadn't occurred to me that keeping my distance would give Jane a chance to try to damage my reputation, but she didn't get very far. I've worked with everyone else on this team on and off for most of my career, so they were all very skeptical. Sam and I met with HR and walked through my history with Jane to create a plan for Sam to manage her going forward. HR was wonderfully supportive and thanked me for communicating with her in writing, as it was probably the safest thing I could have done under the circumstances. Then we learned a few things we didn't know. HR had been planning to reach out to me because when my predecessor hired Jane, he had done so without putting in the paperwork for a background check. This is one of the many reasons I replaced this manager. Our company requires us to use a fingerprinting service run out of the sheriff's office for a full background check before starting employment. My predecessor let her start without one and just marked "passed" in her employee profile without adding the appropriate documentation. When pressed, he said he lost it. HR was able to confirm Jane had never gone. Before I started as her boss, Jane had been given a 30-day grace period from HR to get fingerprinted, missed multiple appointments, and had been pushing back on it with my predecessor's support. He'd left no documentation for me or record of this issue, which didn't surprise us, and now there was only a week left in the grace period. HR needed to discuss terminating Jane if she didn't get fingerprinted for her background check within the next 10 days. All of this is based on state regulations and company policy, and thankfully had nothing to do with me. There was no other job or department she could be moved to that didn't require a background check. Sam took over from there, and all I know is they met with Jane, explained that Sam would be her manager going forward, and made an appointment for her to get fingerprinted that day, and she enthusiastically agreed to go, and didn't, and never returned any calls or contact attempts from HR or Sam, which was honestly the best way this could have washed out. My family is doing better than ever, work is great, and my amazing kiddo is healing and finding joy again. They even helped their new school start an anti-bullying and mental health program to help younger students if they feel unsafe. We're going to be traveling to see relatives and have some fun this summer, so we're very excited. I feel like a weight's been lifted off my chest. A huge thank you to the community for just letting me get all my thoughts out. Next story. I made a dumb joke about my BF, am I the butthole? So I need the opinion of people not attached to me or him, but my BF got mad at me Sunday, and he's been ignoring me since, so I feel like maybe I am the butthole. So I am F35, and he is M35, and we've known each other 10 years and dated too. He knows how much I like writing books. I self-published a kid's book last month, and he's been really quiet about it. This past weekend at my family cookout, my father mentioned the book and how proud he is of me, but BF walked inside saying he was grabbing our drinks. At the end of the day, my parents offered me some money to go to a book convention, and BF audibly scoffed. On the way home, I asked what his deal was, and he said that his job, he's a back-end software engineer, will provide for us, and he will let me have my fun as a creative for now, but I eventually have to grow up. I laughed because I assumed he was joking. He of course was upset and told me my meaningless book was objectively illustrated poetry. I shut down, and he then was upset I was acting mad, so I changed the subject. He continued to make my book a topic by jokingly saying my glorified illustrated poetry shows my middle child syndrome, or that I must crave mediocre attention from people. I shrugged and replied, "Hey, if you think you're mediocre, okay," and moved on. He texted me the next morning saying I tore him down and was being a bully nad. He was kidding with me, and he hasn't at all responded to me since. I am away on a planned work trip, and now I am overthinking it. Maybe am I the butthole? Update. Hey y'all on mobile, but had to posy this because what a time to be alive. I broke up with Chris a few hours ago, boy howdy. He had ignored me for a full day, and I hadn't reached out to him because I was honestly fed up with his attitude. We've been together for 2 years, and I never have seen him act this way. I flip-flopped between maybe he was having a bad day or something was going on, and he transferred his negative energy in my book. But no, he's just soggy moldy baby carrot that didn't think I had dreams of my own, or I would throw it away for him. Our mutual friends have told me that he had basically told them that I rubbed my success in his face and made him feel like a simp just following his GF around being ignored when he has a successful business and has the higher paying job. He texted the day after his silent treatment that my not reaching out to him was a sign that I don't love him, and went on to say that I love my book more than I love him because I neglected him while working on it. And then I didn't praise him at the party as my biggest supporter. The rest of his paragraph's long text went on to talk about that he had this whole plan that he would marry me and we would be engaged this year, but then you started not listening to me to drop things and DFPCUS on us, our lives and the future, by taking up hobbies, and that my therapist poisoned me against him. I was diagnosed with depression this year and therapy has helped a lot. It hurt because I felt immediately like all I do was just rubbish to him. How the F can you say that? I loved him so much because he was someone I thought I would be with forever. Guess not. I got angry and was texting him to ask, "What makes you think I don't love you? I'd do anything for you." And just as I hit send, his new message popped up, and it said, "You wrote your book and you got your party. I assume now that I can finally have my GF back. We can have a talk. I don't think you understand how I want our marriage to be, so I want to make things clear." But then he responded to my message, "Are you kidding me? If you're not going to prioritize me over a book no one but you cares about, why am I even staying with you? I can go find a woman supports her man and wants his career and dreams to be successful." So I said, "All right, go find her. We clearly don't work. Best of luck." Him, "Wait, are you breaking up with me?" Me, "What do you want me to do? You've made it clear I am not what you want anymore." Him, "You can't just break up with me." Me, "Chris, please." Him, "You can't just make that decision for me. You can break us up like this. It's been 2 years, me, 2 years in which one thing I wanted to do, one thing I was proud to have done, and you needed to crap on it. You've been so sour about it, and I don't get it. So get your better woman." Him, "But you can't just break up with me. We have to talk." He calls. I decline. Him, "Pick up. You are being ridiculous." He shows up at my door, and the second I opened it trying to push in, but I hadn't let the chain lock on. He was screaming at me. He said I can't break up with him. It's been 2 years. How do I think it will go for me to try dating again after passing the expiration date for children? That's when I asked him to leave or I would call the police, and he said he will never forgive me for this book as it's ruined me as a person. And for some reasons I said, "Chris, take your mediocre stick out of you mediocre butt and be on your mediocre way," and called my parents to tell them what happened. My mom is over now plying me with a mixed drink, and she's been making fun of the repeated, "You can't break up with me" line as he said many times in text and bunch in person. She said she was proud because I am usually quite passive, and she didn't like him bulldozing over me, and when I asked her what she meant she brought up a lot of things I never really thought about. Chris would shoot me down a lot, and I honestly thought I was compromising for our relationship, but it seemed to some that I was just letting him speak for me a lot. 2 years. It feels like a blip and a lifetime at the same time. It's hitting me that it's over and my mom is staying over with me. But I have many what the F to deal with, just not tonight. Update. Edit small update. Holy hell, this blew up. I am usually a Reddit lurker on anonymous mode, so I was overwhelmed in the best way to see all this live and support. It made me cry. Good years, I promise. I cried most of my bitter ones a bit last night on my mom's shoulder. She was right. I don't miss him, but the version of him I thought he was. And so I choose to look forward. Mom and I stayed up and read comments together. She's not a Reddit gal but loved all your messages and says she's happy to be the Reddit mom lol. Mom made breakfast this morning and we were eating when there was knock at the door. My mom held a hand up to halt me and got up herself to go to the door and ask who it was. Then I heard her say, "You have 15 seconds to leave or you're going to be made to leave." I got up to see Mom shouting though the still locked door peeking through my peephole. There was someone on the other side talking back to her, but she just kept steadily counting down. By the time she got to 6, she had put her shoes on and was holding my broom. I'm not stupid, I knew it was him even then, but then my phone went off and I didn't reply. It was him again. He left flowers and an apology card, along with a stuffed owlbear. Mom asked me if I wanted to read the card and I said I did. It basically was a long-winded apology admitting he was being an butt, But work has him stressed, and he underappreciated in general, and it all came out in a nasty way. He's so sorry. He should have given me space and respected me more, and he will never do it again. He didn't sleep last night feeling so much regret over what he did and will do better. To please call. That he misses me and let's not throw away 2 good years of foundation away over a stupid fight. I handed it to my mother, who read it, snorting and chuckling, "Yeah, I bet," to herself, and then stood up and went to the kitchen, returning with a trash bag and my cell phone. "What's the play, Coach?" she asked, and just to freak her out, I took the phone and pretend to call the pizza shop. "Yes, Domino's. We need a pizza." "Yes, I'm breaking up with my ex, and we need to toss his crap out." All that to say it's now evening. The sun is lower and my neighbors are watching my house as I am in my parents' pool in their backyard drinking margaritas with my sister and brother. Mom tells the story to all of them over and over. I had texted him. "Chris, we are done. All of the things you left at my place are in garbage bags on the porch. The neighbors have their camera pointed at the house, so please just take your stuff and go. Don't knock. I am not in. If it's all there on Monday, it goes with the rest of the garbage to the curb." He replied asking if not home. Where was I? But I won't be giving energy to this. I will spend the weekend with my family, and I feel so lucky to have them. I've decided that I will go for another book. For those asking for links to this book already out. Sorry. But when Mom and I read the comments, she said, "Don't you dare put your name out there. They all seem lovely, but you don't know what others will do." And I feel like if I did, it would be like opening the door to Chris like I did last night. You were right, that was dangerous. But if you are looking to do something nice, I would be absolutely overjoyed if you did one or both of 2 things. 1, love yourself and truly know you deserve love and nothing less, and 2, buy books from a locally owned bookstore, buy art from the Artist Commission and Art Pace, etc. The art world is wonderful, but also a struggle, and many aren't as lucky as I am to have a strong support system. So support yourself and your local artist. Thank you all. Another edit. Sorry, there were a lot of same questions in the comments. Yes, we were an interracial couple. I am Black, Indigenous, Middle Eastern, and he is Irish and French descent. No, I do not want children. The moment I am eligible, I will be getting that baby store shut down medically. I would adopt possibly someday, but I would not and should not be pregnant. Chris and I were friends before we started dating, so I thought I knew him and his family well. Mom has always been cordial with him, even if she didn't care for him. She did the whole mama thing of hugging him, feeding him, etc. Yes, Mom will adopt you. She says she sends her heart to you and every hug you deserve and more. Dad didn't come over because, and I quote, "You wouldn't have wanted me in a space that boy would also be in given what happened. So he stayed the course of his trip he was on. I intend to be an author, whether it be full-time or part-time. Oddly enough, my book sales are skyrocketing a lot online." Next story. I had a panic attack over a Halloween decoration at work. I'm writing about a situation that just happened today at my office regarding Halloween decorations. If this is helpful context, I'm a mid-level manager at a nonprofit. A few members of my team brought in fun, low-key Halloween decor. Think purple construction paper bats and a few faux pumpkin heads, which I complimented. However, another colleague, who is slightly senior to me and not in my department, brought in an absolutely terrifying doll that stood a few feet tall with a grotesque expression and dressed styled like the girl from The Ring. I suffer from automatnophobia, a severe case for my entire life. I have managed it through therapy and can handle some triggers to a degree, but I was very uncomfortable knowing the doll was anywhere in our building. The doll was originally hidden in a supply closet as a jump scare, but then was moved from office to office. I was caught twice by it in just 18 hours, let out a small involuntary scream each time, and immediately verbalized that I did not like the doll and to please keep it away from me. I was so distressed afterwards that I refused to leave my office for the rest of the day to eat or even to use the bathroom. A sympathetic colleague warned me later that afternoon that the doll had migrated again to a very public area of our workspace. I asked the owner of the doll to come to my office to chat, so that I could privately request that he remove it from the building, or at least from the public space. However, the doll's owner didn't know that was to be the topic of discussion and, you guessed it, came down to my office with the doll in hand. After being on edge and close to tears all day, I had a full-blown panic attack, hysterical, loud sobbing and hyperventilating. My coworkers were deeply apologetic. This is well outside my realm of behavior in the workplace, and immediately removed the doll from the building once I explained my phobia. A concerned coworker filled in our boss. She works remotely, and she called me right away to check on me. I'm worried now that this is becoming a whole thing. My colleagues are incredible people, and I truly have no ill will towards them whatsoever, but am left with 2 questions I hope you can help me with. Was it out of line to bring such a grotesque decoration into the workplace in the first place? I presume others were unsettled as well, though certainly not to the same degree. How can I, as an ambitious woman who strives for professionalism, move past this deeply embarrassing moment of crazy crying over a doll in front of my colleagues? Am I forever the hysterical doll lady now? What should I say to my coworkers about what happened? People down the hallway heard my screams and sobs and were undoubtedly disturbed. Update. Thank you all so much for your support in the comments. It really helped to hear that others were able to sympathize. I felt very alone after it happened, and it was so helpful to hear that I was not, either in my fear or in having an emotional moment at work. I ended up taking a personal day the next day, very common at our company. We have generous toe and met with my therapist, but worked at a work event that evening. When I arrived at the event, I did almost exactly what Allison and my therapist suggested. I arrived in a professional manner and handled my immediate tasks. Then, when the group was gathered, I broke the tension by asking, "And has this event space been swept for evil dolls?" Everyone chuckled and was very nice about it. I apologized directly to the coworkers who had overheard the panic attack, and all of them said to not worry at all. One woman even kindly said she thought we were all just laughing in my office, probably a lie, but very sweet. Doll Dude and I checked in person the next day at the office, and we are good. At this point, I don't think anyone will be mentioning it anymore, and I am so relieved. A few things I can clear up for those who asked. Doll Dude did not know that I was afraid of the doll. He was not there when I first got jump scared by it, and word hadn't reached him that I was uncomfortable. It was just bad luck that he happened to bring it with him to meet with me. He was intending to be playful, and it backfired. He was instantly horrified by my reaction and brought me tissues while apologizing profusely and immediately taking the doll out to his car. Another coworker sat with me and calmed me down, even walking me to my car afterwards, so I wouldn't have to walk through the halls alone. They are good people. Other dolls in the office. I would generally not enjoy them and attempt to avoid them, but I would not be triggered to nearly this degree by, say, a baby doll or the George Costanza's mother doll. Great example from the comments. It would not send me into a panic attack. This doll was intentionally designed to be scary as a Halloween decoration, and others vocally expressed they found it creepy. I have been at this company for almost 3 years. Doll Dude has been here about a year, and those who witnessed my panic attack have also been here at least 18 months. So this was luckily not an early impression of me for them. Thank you, Allison, for sharing my story, for your kind advice, and for the support of the commenters. I have been reading Alm for a decade now, but this is my first time ever interacting with you all. Update 2. I ended up leaving that job just after the new year for unrelated reasons. I was headhunted to fill a role with higher pay and a much better work-life balance, so hard to come by at nonprofits, for a different organization, so I no longer have to worry about any potential long-term effects from the Halloween episode at my previous company. Hoping that this new workplace also remains free of creepy dolls. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel James Stories.